OP08 Marco seems like a pretty fun leader. It's a white beard, it's red, and it's blue, so why is it not being seen all over the meta? Well, here's my deck list and we'll go ahead and talk about that today. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Mobby, and today I'm going to be giving you my deck list for the OP08 Marco leader. We're going to talk about the pros, the cons of this particular deck, the utility, the 2K, the blockers, the attackers. So let's go ahead and get started talking about the leader. And before we jump into things, please like and subscribe. This is a fairly new channel, and if you want to see more deck profiles and duels of One Piece, Dragon Ball, lots of other anime TCGs, then please follow. So let's go ahead and get started with Marco. So this is a proxy leader. If you want, a link in the description to print out your own proxies. I made a full tutorial. Anyway, Marco, 5,000 liters, the alternate art by the way. Red, blue for power Whitebeard Pirates. So the ability is you attach one Dawn, then you activate once per turn. You draw one card and then place one on the top or bottom of your deck. So remember, that's the specific order. Then you give up to one of your opponent's characters negative 2,000 for the turn. The ability is really strong. It allows you to sift cards on the bottom if you don't need them anymore, and also allows you to put them on top because there are some cards which, you know, you have to manipulate the top of your deck to actually get some cool benefits from. And the fact that you get somebody negative 2,000 means you can activate lots of other skills to combo off of it, or even just attack a character or maybe lower a blocker to lower the effectiveness. So Marco is a really, really cool leader. Let's talk about the attackers of the deck first. So there's a good amount in this deck, and we'll start with the lowest to highest cost here. First of all, this is Thatch. So this is a new character from OP08, 451. If this character is KO'd or leaves the field due to an opponent's effect. So pretty much, this is, no matter how it gets removed from the opponent, you are going to be placing this in the trash instead of like bottom decking it, and then you're going to be drawing a card. Now this is not on your turn. This is only if the opponent's effect. So we got to be wary of that. But it's a nice card. It's pretty sticky. Well, I shouldn't say sticky, but it gives you value, right? So we're running a couple of these, and there's a lot of Whitebeards in this deck that is equal to 4 costs or less, and there's going to be a good reason for that. So we're running 4 of these Thatches. Next up, check out this ace. This is an ace from the new ST15 sets. The full ST15 set is not out yet, so there might be more cards that I can put in here later, but this is one of the new ace cards that works in Whitebeard decks. So this is a 5/6/1 counter. If your leader has Whitebeard, where right now, as of recording, it's Whitebeard, aces, well, there's only like one ace you can use here. Whitebeard, ace, and the Marco. Once per turn, if this character would be removed by play from one of the effects, meaning it can still be just KO'd by battle, you may instead give this character negative 2,000 power for the turn. So yeah, it's a sticky freaking character, and it has rush, and it has a counter if you need to get rid of it. So overall, it's a pretty good card. It has good versatility. I like it a lot. We're testing it out though, so we're running just 2 of these. Next, it's going to be a big key piece of this deck. This is another ace card from OP08. 5/6/1. On play, you reveal the top card of your deck, and that's why any sort of deck manipulation is really good. You may put up to play one Whitebeard character with a cost of 4 or less, so it's going to combo really well with Thatch and a bunch of other cards we're going to be talking about later. So yeah, and then you return the remaining cards to the top or bottom. So even if you play this without knowing what's on top, this deck is like 90%, well, I would say 80% Whitebeard cards. So you're gonna hit a lot of the times, even if you don't do your own setup. But the perfect time to play this would be either the turn before that you set up your deck, or on turn 6, so you can set up on the turn. So you can have your leader's ability with 1 Dawn attached, then you can play this guy out. So you might be thinking it's a little slow, but because you get this body out and another body out, you have potential for just more attackers to be really annoying on the board, or you can throw out some blocking characters to really help you out. So amazing card, amazing card. We're running 4 of this with this particular deck. Next up, we have a Marco from OP03. This is a 5/6/1. Your turn on play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 or less. So once again, this is going to combo off your leader's ability, less of the draw potential, but more of the negative 2000. So if you play this on the first turn, it can be played with this ability. It's going to be turn 6. So you'll be able to KO a 5,000 power or less character. If you don't want to drop this guy, you can always drop off an Otama as well. Well, you know, once you have 7 Dawn to lower it even more. So because it's not going to happen that often, we're just running 2 of these, just for like some easy, quick removal. Next is going to be your late game cards, and there's a lot in here. There's a lot of late game cards. First of all, Ace from OP02, 7/7, no counter, on play. Give up to 2 of your opponents negative 3,000 power. Then, if your leader is Whitebeard, which it is, this character gains rush, so you can attack the leader. You can go ahead and use its effect to just totally nullify some blockers, etc. It's a good solid thing. So we're running 3 of these. Sorry, we're running 3 of these. So far you can see we already have 5 rush cards, 3 of these late game aces, and 2 of these other aces here, the new ones. Next up, it's a new card that I'm trying out. I'm not 100% if I'm going to keep this in the deck yet, but we're just trying this out. So this is a Silver's Rayleigh from OP08. This is an 8/8 card, 0 counter. On play, choose up to 2 of your opponent's characters, and until the end of their turn, one character gets negative 3,000 and the other gets negative 2, which is very good. Then KO up to one of them that is 3,000 or less. So very strong. It pretty much hinders 2 of their opponent's characters, unless they want to spend a lot of resources buffing them up to attack you. And overall, this is just, it's an interesting control card. Like, a lot of the time, you're going to have some value off of it. So we're running 3 of these. Next up, we're going to be running some Sanjis. And just so you guys know, this Silver's Rayleigh, it's not Whitebeard, so it's not searchable by anything in the deck. Same thing with the Sanji, not searchable by anything in this deck. On play, reveal the top card. Oh yeah, 9/9 counter. Reveal the top card of your deck, and you may put up to play 1 revealed character with 9 or less other than Sanji, and then put the rest on the bottom of your deck. So if you can get this out, there's a lot of really amazing targets for this. The best things are probably the rush aces, this guy to get him and another card on the field. You get Marco for some KOing. You get some instant rushes here. You get some insanely Silver's Rayleigh. Or, probably one of the best ones you can get are going to be the Edward Newgate ones. So Sanji has a ton of good stuff, and we're not even at the blockers yet. So, Edward Newgate, 9/10 counter on play. Up to one of your leader, gains 2,000 until the start of your next turn, which is very good for keeping him alive. Then you cannot add cards from your life by your effects during this turn, which, you know, is probably better in a Whitebeard deck, obviously, but the effect is still good. Then next turn, if he stays in the field, Dawn 2 when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 or less. And because it's going to be the next turn, you're going to have so much Dawn ready, adding 1 onto here, you're going to be KOing a 5,000. It's insanely good. Such a good card. So yeah, Sanji has some really good stuff. Some really, really good stuff. So those are the attackers of the deck. Next, let's move on to the blockers, shall we? Alright, so there's an okay amount here. We'll start from lowest to highest again. This is a new OP08 card as well, Namule. 3/2/1, blocker innate, on play, draw 2, then return 2 from your hand to the top or bottom in any order. Now, just like this, it's important to note that even though you draw a card, it doesn't have to be that same one that goes on top or the bottom. You choose any other card in your hand to sift. So even though you have a ton of late game dead cards, you choose when it's going to go on top or on bottom, whether you need to kick them for Sanji, kick them with Sanji, or even get them out there with this ace here. It's really good. And it's 2 of them, so 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom in any order. So it's really good running 4 of these. This can be kicked out with Sanji, and it can be kicked out with Ace, so really good. Next, we're going to be running Marco. This is 4/5/1. Innate blocker. Then when this guy is KO'd, you may trash 1 card with Whitebeard, tons of Whitebeards, and if you have 2 or less life, play this rest. So you usually want to use this at the end of the opponent's actions, so you can have a blocker ready to go. So really good. Another one that can be kicked out by the Ace and the Sanji. Really good. Next up, we have another blocker. This is an Ace card from OP07, 5/6/1 innate blocker. On play, draw 2 cards, then return 2. So it's like the Namule, except it's a little bit stronger. This one can only be kicked out by Sanji. It can't be found by the other Ace. But overall, it's a really good card anyway, just to throw out. So there's a lot of blockers in this deck to keep you alive until you get to your late game stuff. All right, now let's talk about the 2Ks in this deck. Starting off with lowest to highest, Otama, not searchable in this deck. 102. Give up to one of your opponent's negative 2,000 power for the turn. We're only running 2 of these because we primarily want Whitebeard cards, but this is still good for some of your KOing effects, and it just combos really well, you know, lowering stuff quite a lot. Next up, it's going to be some Jozus here. Searchable Whitebeard. 4/4/2. 1 Dawn attach. If you have 2 or less life and your Whitebeard leader, then you get Rush. You're primarily going to be using it for a 2K. If you end up using it for an attack as a random Rush card, then hey, good luck. Hope it works. We're running 4 of these. Next up, it's going to be another new Whitebeard card from OP08. 4/4/2. This is King Do. You can activate main once per turn. You can reveal 2 cards with Whitebeard included in their types from your hand. This is a new effect type that is released in OP08 where you reveal cards when they're Whitebeard. This is the only like blue cards in the set that do this, right? Then this character gains 2,000 for the turn, so it's not the best. Once again, you can kick it out with Sanji, kick it out with Ace if you really need to, and you're most likely always gonna get the effect off. But yeah. You mainly want it for the 2K. So these cards are just for searching. The King Do and the Jozu, but the Otama is the only utility one in here. So that's why you have 10 2Ks. But you are supplemented with a ton of blockers, just a crap ton. And last but not least, the utility in this, and there's no events in this deck. We're not running any events. And the utility is just going to be the good old Ezo Searchers. 1/2/1 on play. Look at the top 5 cards, reveal 1 Whitebeard, then put the rest in the bottom of your deck. So obviously the search is everything in this deck. So out of 50 cards, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 9 cards that are not Whitebeard, and effectively every single card in this deck can be kicked out by Sanji. No matter what you get out, there's going to be some value out of it. And of course, the other Ace here, you have a good amount of targets as well. So this deck is all about just swarming and being very consistent with getting your Whitebeard cards out. And your leader ability allows you to sift every single turn, and you're always going to have targets for Sanjis if you set it up easily, either on the turn beforehand, the Namules, the other Aces, and so on. So let's quickly talk about the strengths and weaknesses. The strengths: late game, you're a beast, right? You're a super beast. But getting up to there, the meta these days, it's all about removal and being sticky with a lot of triggers. This deck is not heavy removal at all. It is only a little bit sticky, staying on the board, not sticky from life triggers, right? So that's why it's not the best. It is a decent off-meta deck from what I've seen, and it's been fun. What I like it is, you know, obviously getting Sanji out and some other stuff really makes the deck crazy. But yeah, there's still, as of recording this, there's still more cards to be revealed for the ST. Which one is it? ST. For the ST15. So ST15 up to ST20, there's going to be lots of new cards. So we're going to be revising a lot of decks and adding more stuff and going there. So let me know what you guys think about the Marco leader and the deck that I'm running here. If you guys have any sort of tips for how to play them, please let us know. Also, what cards do you think should be, you know, added in? What other cards should be taken out? Would love your tips, etc. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.